Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this series on A Course in Miracles. And thank you for tuning in and joining me here. So today we're going to look at lesson 264 in the workbook for students, which is I am surrounded by the love of God. I'm surrounded by the love of God. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And in practicing the idea for today, I really, truly want to call your attention to the italicized prayer that accompanies this lesson in the workbook. It's where the action is. It is the description, and it's very, very important. So I'll offer just a few comments here. There's really nothing I or anyone could say that will add to this, because truth can't be added to. It simply is. And when we say here, God is, it means that lesson 264 is as well. I'm surrounded by the love of God. Now, this does not mean surrounded in the ego sense. It does not mean surrounded in the sense of subject and object dualism, where we're surrounded by other people, or we might be surrounded by our enemies as we see it. Yeah. So there's no separate I that's surrounded. This is simply a word to state and to help us understand from experience that God is everywhere. This includes us, inside us, around us, what appears to be inside, what appears to be outside, everything, everything. Because there's no distinction of any kind. There's no separation, period. It's such an interesting statement, isn't it? God is. And again, what is really interesting and wonderful about that is what that statement implies. And if you're following the verbal math, it implies that nothing else is. It's a shortened version of the summary of A Course in Miracles. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So, yes, each of us is surrounded by the love of God. We're suffused by the love of God. It's in us. It's all around us. It's in everything that we see. It's in everything we hear, touch, taste, feel, sense, think about. Everything. It's all that is. And having been created by God as the extension of love itself, we partake of this. We are joined, forever joined. As we see in the prayer, time and space are illusions. That's duality, subject, object. If it's 8:38 a.m., which it is, according to this thing that we call a clock here in Phoenix, Arizona, that implies that it's some other time somewhere else. Even that's a separation. Right? Space. If I'm in a place that we've gotten together and named Arizona, I mean, actually, what is that? It's just some lines that some old dudes drew up on a map one time, hundreds of years ago. Yeah, really, right? It's an idea. Everything is an idea. God is an idea. So are we ideas. Right? Time and space, if you're in one place, it implies you're not somewhere else. If you're in one time, it implies that you're not in another time. So there is no separation period. Therefore, time and space are illusory. Yet here in the world where we have taken them to be real things that supposedly, if we allow them to govern our entire worldly lives, we need lessons like this. We need moments to remember the day's idea, remember your own spiritual practice, whether that includes these workbook ideas or not, actually doesn't make any difference. All that any spiritual teacher could ever ask is that you give your best shot at it, right? Give it your best. Remember as often as you can your own practice, your own greatness, who you really are. Anytime that you feel yourself carried away or distracted, remember that you're surrounded by the love of God. In fact, you are the love of God. And ultimately, you are. I am, you are, we all are. And this, I really, really hope, gives you a tremendous, tremendous sense of relief. I hope that it brings you joy, because it should bring you joy. I mean, at first, the ego is going to have its habitual reactions and have you want to do anything else but stand in the spiritual development line. It's the shortest line around. Got that going for you, right? It's going to want you to believe something else. It's going to have you questioning your sanity. It's going to have you questioning my sanity and other spiritual teachers' sanity and Jesus' sanity and the Buddha's sanity and any other sage in world history. It's going to have you questioning everything with a big fat dose of skepticism. But that skepticism, if you're listening to the ego, doesn't go far enough, does it? While you're questioning everything, question the very foundations of everything you believe, everything that you've been taught, everything you read in your biology textbook in high school, yeah, everything your parents and society have taught. Skepticism's beautiful. It is. I welcome it. I welcome it. So if you're questioning me, question the foundations of everything that you believe and don't stop short of that. Because if you do, what's going to happen, predictably enough, is that you're going to stay stuck in a rut. This is what happens to all of us. This is another way that we do what the Course invites us not to do, which is keep some forms of specialness for ourselves. In other words, we harbor certain grudges. We forgive some people really easily, right? But we withhold forgiveness from others. And we resist the idea that, well, you can't have it both ways. If you withhold love and forgiveness from one person, you withhold it from all people, including yourself. And yet, if your love and forgiveness is total and universal, forgiving one person is forgiving them all. So I really, really just invite you to pay special attention to the prayer here, which appears at this stage in the workbook in italics. There are only a couple sentences of commentary after that with a question: should we not join in what will save the world and ourselves? Well, yeah, we should. Right? We all know that we should. So let's pay special attention to the meaning of this today. If only God is, then yes, of course, this lesson applies. We're surrounded by the love of God. We're suffused, penetrated by the love of God. It's a beautiful thing, and it's all that is. All right, guys, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again here in the next video where we continue here in the workbook for students. Have a great day.